Here we go. Okay. Share screen. Okay, so welcome to Understanding Financial Literacy for Teens and Young Adults. My name is Siobhan DuPont. I'm the Youth Advocate for the YMCA, and I'll be going over a few financial literacy fundamentals that can help you guys save money, save time, and save trouble in your future as an adult. If you have any questions, again, just feel free to unmute and ask, but without further ado, let's get started. So, what does it mean to be financially responsible? Being financially responsible means living within your means. But what does living within your means? That refers to your money. So your means are not just your income, but means can be stocks, bonds, properties, dividends, pension funds, IRAs, which are individual retirement accounts, bank accounts, and more. We're not going to get into all of this today, but this is just to give you an idea of the definition. Living within your means is when you don't spend more than you make or earn. And this, by doing this, it helps you avoid getting into debt. And why is it important to be financially responsible or to live within your means? Well, being financially responsible will allow you to fulfill your needs first and then your wants. People tend to get into trouble when they try to satisfy their wants before their needs. It will enable you to reach your personal goals, and the financial decisions that you make will positively or negatively shape and impact your future. So that's why it's important to think about and consider how you manage your money, even at a young age before you're making a lot of money. And you can use this time and future opportunities to save yourself from a lot of stress as an adult. Oops. Okay, give me 1 second. Okay, so understanding your income. What you're promised when you work at a job and what you actually take home are two different things. So whether you work at a restaurant or you work at the YMCA or you work at a school, you're getting taxes and other deductions taken out of each paycheck. So your gross income is the amount of wages that you earn before any taxes or deductions are taken out. Your net income is what you get to take home after taxes and deductions come out. And that varies by every state. So like in New York State, the taxes are a little bit higher. So more taxes get taken out of your check than if you live in another state. Creating a budget. Whoops, okay. So a budget is a spending plan or a guide that's based off of the amount of money you make and your monthly expenses. Some monthly expenses may include, and just keep in mind that these might not necessarily apply to you right now, but in the future they will, so that's why I'm covering them. Your mortgage or rent, a car payment, car insurance, health insurance, cell phone bill, groceries, gasoline, and probably more. Those are just the basics that you need to get by. And these are all things that you have to consider in your budget or your spending plan. So like we talked about before, your net income is what you get to take home. And out of your net income, you have to be able to cover all of your expenses, which may be less than you anticipate when you're calculating, if I work X amount of hours this week and I make $15 an hour, how much will my check be? Well, you can calculate that, but you also have to consider what's being taken out of that because of taxes and deductions. And then you also have to figure out, what do I need to prioritize and spend my money on? What are my monthly expenses? So these are just a few examples. This is a sample budget and it's based on categories. So we'll start here at the largest one and we'll go this way. So housing. Housing is, again, your mortgage or your rent payment. And that's typically 25 to 35% of what you make or take home. So that's a huge chunk. That's almost a third, between a quarter and a third of what you make. That's probably your biggest and most important expense. And then you have insurance. So that could be car insurance, that could be health insurance, and that's 10 to 20%. So that's another large percentage. Between housing and insurance, that's up to 55% or half of your income. And so once that's taken care of, you have to worry about, or not worry about, but consider all of these other things that you need to live, like food. The average family or household spends between 10 and 15% of what they make on food. Savings, it's always a good idea to save at least 10% of what you make, 10 to 15% if you can. Transportation, driving to and from work or taking the bus, that could be considered transportation. That's another 10 to 15% of what you make. Giving, things come up, birthdays come up, holidays, that sort of thing. You should allocate or try to have at least 10%, maybe more or less some months. But you want to have a little bit of flexibility when things and holidays and celebrations come up to be able to afford those things. Personal, this could be your own personal entertainment, Netflix, movies here and there, whatever. Recreation, same, this could be a day trip or this could be a night out to the movies. So you want to be able to have a little bit of wiggle room because, you don't want to work so hard that you don't even get to really enjoy anything. So this is, the idea of creating a budget is being able to have money set aside so that your building is, you're number one, taking care of what you need to, as far as keeping a roof over your head, keeping food in your mouth, but then also being able to build that savings and then being able to have money for recreational or personal needs. Utilities, that's like your electric, water, heat, etc. That's about 5 to 10%. Medical expenses, that could be a doctor's visit, or this could also be your health insurance as well. And as you can see here, 2 to 5% for clothing or I guess different personal needs as they come up. That's the smallest percentage that they have on this recommended sample budget. And I know when I was younger, I spent probably 25 to 30% of what I made in high school on clothing, and then, fit everything else that I needed, like phone bill or gas to get to and from work, into the rest. But this is the ideal way to do it so that you have that flexibility and you're also building a savings. Any questions so far? Just gonna unmute again to check on it. Oops. Okay, no questions. I think we're all good. Oops. Okay, so now we'll talk about saving and spending your money. So a checking account. What's a checking account? Waiting for it to pop up. I'm not sure what's up with it. Okay, I'll just share it to you guys this way. So a checking account, you write checks out of your checking account, so you can hand somebody a check and pay for something that way. Or if you have a debit card, which is the more common or modern way of using a checking account, all your purchases that you swipe come out of this account. So having a checking account is a good place to put loose cash, or instead of using cash, if you're someone like me who sometimes like loses cash if I have a lot of it, having it in a checking account is a good idea, because you can see exactly what you're spending your cash on. You can also easily access more of your cash if you need it through an ATM. And you can use your checking account to pay bills so that you're not putting all your money into a savings account and then constantly making withdrawals. This actually allows you to build up a savings. So having one account where you know that all of your regular expenses are going to come out of, you'll use that checking account for that, and having an account where you can put money on it, put money in there and let it stay there and grow and earn interest. So let's see. Okay, debit cards. Debit cards take money directly from your checking account. When you swipe your card, the money is transferred directly out of your account. So with a debit card, you can only spend as much as you have in your account. Otherwise, you will be charged additional fees or your purchases will be declined. So as you can see, looking at this card, it looks exactly like a credit card, but it has the word debit here. So that tells you that it's linked to a checking account. A savings account helps you save up for larger purchases such as college, a car. Some of you, I'm not sure how old you are, but you might be thinking about getting a car soon. A savings account can help you do that. And later on in the future, a house, having a savings account can help you save for these big purchases. Because imagine trying to save for these huge expenses with your checking account where you've got all different kinds of things coming out of there, your phone bill, gasoline, maybe lunch money. That makes it so much harder to save. But if you have a dedicated space or dedicated account to where you're not pulling money out of it all the time, that helps you earn interest over time because the money is sitting there, it's collecting, and it's building. So interest is extra money that banks will pay. And usually the rates aren't so high, but checking accounts typically don't earn any interest because money is always getting pulled out. So that's another plus of having a savings account, is by letting your money sit there, it's also earning a little bit extra over time. And with certain savings accounts, the money isn't always as readily accessible as it would be with a checking account where you can just swipe and whatever you want to buy comes right out of that account. And also, having a savings account can reduce your temptation to spend money. So those are just some reasons to consider having a savings account, and also just to make clear the difference between a checking account and a savings account. So how much should you save? There's this thing called the 50-20-30 split. So we looked at that sample budget before, and this would maybe be more applicable to you guys right now. So 50% of what you make, set aside for your fixed expenses. These are your expenses that are monthly. They typically stay the same. They don't change. So your cell phone bill, Apple Music, if you have a car, gasoline, if you buy lunch, whether you go to the place across the street from the school or you buy lunch every day at school, that sort of thing, what you can budget for. Have at least half of your income prepared to spend on things that you need regularly. 20%. This is on the higher end than that sample budget that we saw, which was 10 to 15%. But while you guys are young and you don't have as many high cost expenses like a mortgage or health insurance or that sort of thing, it's a good idea to save more now. And trust me, it will impact you as an adult. So if you can afford to put a little bit of extra money aside while you don't have so many big expenses while you're young, it's definitely a good idea. And 30% can be for you to enjoy, like movies, outside food. So that could be dinner with a friend or lunch out with your friends, clothes, just treating yourself. You can give yourself that wiggle room while you're young because, again, you don't have the same um, responsibilities that you will in a few years. But this is why the time is important now while you're young to put aside a little extra and save while you can. So there's this app that I recently learned about. It's called the Mint app. It's designed to help you manage your money. It's a free app. I believe that there's a paid version, but the free version is really good, and it helps you make a budget. If you have accounts already, like checking accounts or savings accounts, you sync them into this app, and it helps you track your spending. And later on, when you guys are 18 or older and you have credit, it also helps you track your credit score. And it allows you to receive notifications on a daily, weekly, or monthly basis. It's a really good idea, I think, because so many of us look at our phones all throughout the day. So why not use our phones to help us see exactly where we're spending our money, or when the time comes, what is our credit score like? And we're going to get into credit very soon. But if you guys download this app and use it, let me know, or let your friends know if you find that it helps you, because it's free, so you might as well. So we'll talk about building your credit score. Why do you need credit? Well, we all need credit at some point down the road. And in order to get credit, you have to have, or you're judged based on your credit score. So lenders look at credit scores to decide whether or not you're a trustworthy person to lend money to. And like I said, at some point, we'll need credit to buy a house. In a lot of cases, actually, which I didn't include on here, but I'm glad I remembered it, when you're renting an apartment, they also check your credit as well. When you buy a car, they want to know what your credit score is like. If you open unsecured credit cards or get any other type of loan, like a personal loan, they want to know your credit score. And this is how your credit score is determined. So 35% of it is based on your payment history. Are you paying your bills on time? And if not, how late are you, and how often are you late on your payments? The next biggest factor in determining your credit score is how much do you owe, and how much of your credit limit do you use. 15% of this is your credit history. How long have you had each account? Have you had it for a month? Have you had it for 3 years? That will impact your score. New credit, how many credit requests have you made, and how many reports have been pulled on you? And lastly, the types of credit. What kind of debts do you owe? So I'm not sure. Let me just see. Okay. Yeah, I'll touch on it here. So credit cards, if you guys remember what the last slide looked like where I had the debit card, this looks exactly or pretty much the same as the debit card one. This is just like a stock image. So this is obviously not somebody's real credit card, and it says credit card across from it. But the point is they look very similar to debit cards, but they're very different. So with credit cards, you're borrowing money from a lending institution, and they're expecting you to pay back some of it or all of it each month. The key is you're borrowing the money. It's not your money. And that is the thing that gets people in a lot of trouble with credit cards. Is like, you get this credit card, it's shiny, it's new, you think you can buy whatever you want with it, but you have to remember that it's not your money. You have to pay it back. So whenever you swipe your credit card, the credit card company pays the store. Let's say you're at Target. The credit card company pays Target when you use your credit card there, and they're expecting you to pay them back. And you have a limited amount, so you have a limited amount of money that you can borrow based on your credit score. And with a credit card, you might have a $2,000 credit card limit. Let's say you can spend $2,000. That's really tempting, and that's great that you have $2,000 to spend, but it really negatively impacts your credit score when you spend more than 30% of your limit. And I know that sounds silly, like, why give me a $2,000 limit if I can only spend $600 of that without it negatively impacting my score? They just want to see that you're able, again, to live within your means. So it's really, it's kind of a, I don't want to say a game, but there's so many elements to credit, and so it really trips people up. Different types of credit. So that's the other thing, is that not all types of credit are created equal. So there's such things as good debts and bad debts. So good debt is something like a car loan or a mortgage or student loans. Pretty much these type of loans are seen as an investment that will grow in value later on. So a mortgage, by having a mortgage, the end goal is for you to own the house, and that's an investment. That's something that creates wealth. It's something that will be worth more, hopefully, in the end than when you first got it. So again, student loans, that's your education. That's something that's you investing in yourself. That's a better type of debt than credit card debt, where, you know, pretty much every store you shop at will offer a credit card. So Kohl's, every time you check out, they're like, do you want to sign up for a Kohl's credit card? Or Old Navy, do you want to sign up for our Old Navy credit card? Those kind of credit cards are not that great, and they do impact your score too, because they're just kind of like, almost like spending traps. So that's why that's a bad kind of debt. Personal loans, they're not the worst, but they tend to have high interest rates, and people tend to take them out and spend them, and then negatively affect their credit score. So that's like, in certain situations, personal loans are good depending on how much you're actually borrowing, but they can be bad if you don't stay on top of your payments, and if you take out too much, like more than you can afford. Different ways to make your credit score go up. So the number one thing is making all your monthly payments on time. The second thing is paying more than the minimum payment. So, you know, I have a credit card, and the monthly payment, I never spend too much on it. The monthly payment is usually like $25. But and because I want to keep my credit score high, I always pay off the full amount in month, the same month that I spent the money in. I always pay it back to the credit card company within that month. The other thing is, again, borrowing below your credit limit. And remember, that limit is not the full amount that you have, but it's at 30%. So whatever your credit card limit is, let's just make it easy and say it's $100. If you have $100 on your credit card, you don't want to spend more than 30. And again, it's really tempting to use every dollar that they give you, but that is going to make your score go way down. And having the last thing that will make your credit score go up is having a good mix between your types of credit. So when you guys get to college, having those student loans, of course, you don't want them so high that you can't afford it when you graduate, but having those good types of investments in yourself. So whether it be a car loan in your name, or maybe you take a couple $1,000s of student loans out in your name, and maybe you have one credit card that's just you use for your expenses that you have each month, that you intentionally set aside money to pay back. Having that mix is going to make your score go up. What will make your score drop is not paying your payments on time. only paying the minimum amount due. When you only pay the minimum amount due, they charge so much interest, it's ridiculous. So you end up, let's say you make a $100 purchase, but you only pay the $15 minimum payment. By the time you finish paying all those minimum payments, you will have paid more than you borrowed. And that will not only make your score go down, but it also just makes no sense to do. So you always want to pay more than the minimum payment. Opening a lot of different types of credit accounts, credit cards at once, or different loans at once will make your score go down. And I know this sounds like confusing, but closing too many accounts will make your score go down. So when you reduce the amount of accounts or opportunities to show that you are a good person to borrow to, that makes your score go down. Also, borrowing, again, more than that 30% is gonna make your score go down. So you guys can turn on your mics for this. I'm gonna read a scenario and then just ask a few questions, and I wanna know if you guys are able to grasp like a sense of how credit works based on these questions. Let me just see, make sure everybody's there. Or whoever feels comfortable participating can turn on their mic. But here we go. So scenario number 1. You want to purchase a new vehicle and you have your heart set out on a brand new SUV. You take out a loan to pay for the car, but after 6 months, you begin to fall behind payments and you get charged late fees. Will your score go up or down? I guess we'll start there. Anybody who wants to take their best guess can share. If you get this car loan and you make all your payments, you start falling behind on your payments, what will happen to your score?
Your score will go down.
Yeah, your score will go down. Who was that? Who guessed your score will go down?
Jasmine.
Oh, Jasmine. Good job, Jasmine. That's exactly right. Nice to meet you, by the way.
Nice
Jasmine,
to meet you.
Thank you. Can you tell me why you think your score would go up or down?
Because you're not paying the payments.
Yeah, you're not making them on time. And remember, we'll go back to this slide. Payment history is the biggest factor in your credit score. So you always want to make your payment on time. Even if you're in a tough situation to where, this month maybe you can only make the minimum payment so that you can pay it on time, that's better than paying it late. What do you think, and anybody can answer, what do you think you could do if your score goes down, what can you do to fix it? Anybody?
Make a payment.
Yeah, make a payment and consistently make those payments on time. Good job, guys. Who was that?
Tatiana.
Tatiana. Good job, Tatiana. That's right. So yeah, in this situation, if you got this new car, but after 6 months you start falling behind on your payments and you're getting charged late fees, the best thing that you can do is make payments consistently and pay them on time. So even if that has to be the minimum payment for a few months, that's what you have to do so that you're showing, again, that you're paying your stuff on time and that you're not late all the time. Another scenario. You've been eager to buy a new cell phone for months and now you're ready to make it happen. You use your credit card to purchase this phone and you set up automatic billing to pay the monthly expense. At the end of each month, you pay the credit card bill in full. Anybody can answer. In this situation, does your credit score go up or down? And
Up.
if yeah, it goes up. And do you know why?
Because you're making your payments on time and you paid it off quickly.
Yeah, exactly. It's that simple. So you can use credit. Credit can be a very helpful thing. I don't want you guys to leave this workshop thinking that credit cards are bad or I should stay away from credit cards. No, credit's a good thing, and credit can be very useful if used correctly. It's like anything. You can use it to help you, or you can use it to hurt you. It all depends on the choices that you make. These are a few different books that you guys can read. And if you want to drop your email in the chat, I can email you this PowerPoint and you can refer back to it. But there's The Motley Fool Investment Guide for Teens, 8 Steps of Having More Money Than Your Parents Ever Dreamed. There's OMG, Official Money Guide for Teenagers. There's The Richest Kids in America, How They Earn It, How They Spend It, and How You Can Too. Financial Basics, a money management guide for students. This one looks like it's a really good one. Why didn't they teach me in this school? Why didn't they teach me this in school? 99 Personal Money Management Principles to Live By. The Complete Guide to Personal Finance for Teenagers, and The Wealthy Barber, which is like a novel, but it's based on financial literacy. If you guys are comfortable with it, there's a quick game that I played in college. I'm gonna turn my camera on so you guys can see me. I guess first I just want to ask, does anybody have any questions about anything that we talked or that I talked about so far? No? Okay. If you guys don't mind turning on your mics and letting me know if you want to play this game. It doesn't take long at all, but it's really fun and it gives you an idea about budgeting. It's called Spent. Just let me know what you guys are feeling. It's really cool and it'll show you like kind of the difficulties of budgeting. Anybody? Or you can always play it on your own. It's just cool to check out and it's challenging. But if nobody has any questions, I hope you guys have some questions. Do any of you guys have accounts already, or you guys have jobs or worked over the summer? Were you able to save any money? Let me know. Okay, you guys are super quiet. So I'm gonna guess that you guys don't have any questions about the material we went over. If you want me to, sorry?
Sorry, my mic wasn't working, but I had a question.
Yeah. Go
How do
ahead.
you open an account at like a checking and savings account as a minor?
Okay, that's a really good question. This is Lee, right?
Yeah,
How old are you?
14.
14. Okay. So 14 is a little young for a checking account. But the good news is at 15, you can open a checking account with your parent as a joint owner. I actually used to work at Mid-Hudson Valley Federal Credit Union, and there's a few of those in Kingston, in Port Ewan. They're all over the Mid-Hudson Valley. So, Lee, do you live in the Hudson Valley?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so when you're 15, you can open a checking account. It'll be in your name. You'll be the primary owner. You have to have a parent as a joint owner on the account because you're under 18. But with that checking account, you'll get a debit card. You'll also get a savings card. Savings account. And you'll get all the benefits that you would if you had a checking account on your own. So are you turning 15 soon?
I mean it's like halfway.
Okay. So yeah, in would you say like six months or less?
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you turn 15, you can have a checking account at Mid-Hudson Valley Federal Credit Union. That is the only one that I know of where you can have an account at 15. So that's the one that I would recommend because and this is a whole nother topic, but banks and credit unions, they pretty much operate the same, but banks like Bank of America or Chase Bank, they tend to have a lot of fees associated with, or a lot of fees that they charge their customers. When when you bank with a credit union, you're a credit union member, and they typically don't charge you the same fees that they would at a bank. So like having a checking account at a credit union is usually free, whereas at Bank of America, and I know this because I have like relatives that had accounts with banks, you have to pay like $15 a month just to have an account, and that's money that you could be saving. So when you turn 15, or maybe even like the month before, I would talk to your parent and just say, hey, I'm interested in opening a checking account. I heard about Mid-Hudson Valley Federal Credit Union, or that's MHVFCU. I'll send it to you in the chat so you can write it down. They
Okay.
have what's called a young adult checking account, and you can open one at 15 years old. That was a good question.
At Wells Fargo, you can open one at 15.
Yeah, with Mid-Hudson Valley Federal Credit Union.
I opened one at Wells Fargo, and there's no monthly fee.
There's no monthly fee? Oh, that's great.
No.
That's
And
awesome.
I opened one at 15.
Oh, really? That's awesome. Okay, see, so there's options. Do you live in Kingston?
Yeah, Lake Katrine.
Oh, okay. I didn't even
Went
know.
to the Wells Fargo in Kingston.
Okay, great. And that's you, right, Tatiana?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, good. So you could even go to Wells Fargo, whatever's more convenient for you. So that's good. Thank you, Tatiana, for letting us know. That's awesome.
You're welcome.
Does anybody else have any questions related to like credit or budgeting, or do you guys currently work? Did you work over the summer?
I have a question about one of the slides. Sorry.
No problem. Which
It was
slide?
one about debit cards, and it said paying bills.
So let me go back up to it. Okay. Is it this one? I think this was the one that was, yeah. Is this the slide?
No, I think there was like one or two before that.
Okay.
There it is, that one.
Okay.
The checking account one, yeah.
Okay, what was your question?
For the one that says pay bills, is that with a debit card, or is it better to do stuff like that online with a credit card?
Oh, okay. So yeah, with your debit card, if like say you were to, wait, when you say bills, do you mean like just purchases, or like actual bills that you might have, like a cell phone or utility bill or insurance, that sort of thing?
Like cell phone, stuff like that?
Cell phone? Yeah, so with your checking account, using your debit card, that money would come directly from your account. So it's kind of just like using a credit card. Say you have a credit card with, think of a credit card company. Say you have a credit card with Bank of America, but you have a checking account with Wells Fargo. You could easily pay your phone bill with your credit card from Bank of America, but then you have to go back and pay that bill, pay your credit card bill, because really when you're using a credit card, you're borrowing the money and Bank of America is paying that bill for you, but then you still owe Bank of America, so you're gonna have to use your own money to pay that bill anyway. Does that make sense? So you could just do a one-stop, yeah, you could do a one-stop payment, or one-stop shop by just using your debit card, and it will come right from your account. Or you could use your credit card and then pay the credit card off later. It really just is that turned into like a two-step process, but you could do either as long as you're diligent and pay your stuff on time, it doesn't really matter which way you do it.
Thank you. That makes sense.
Yeah, no problem. Good question. Great question, guys. Does anybody else have any other questions? All right, well, if not, if you guys want to drop your email in the chat, you can send it privately to me and I can email you this PowerPoint, or I can send you my email if you guys have any questions that you don't want to ask right now. I'll also be doing some other workshops with the same Zoom link. So the next one that's coming up is how to choose a college during COVID-19. And then following that, I'll be doing a Common App workshop where I go over the Common App, which is what you use to apply to colleges. And then I'll be doing a workshop on the FAFSA, which is the financial aid application to pay for college. And if you guys have any, if you want to like give suggestions for different workshops that you would find helpful, definitely send them to me. I'm always looking for ideas, and I'll pass them on to my team at the Y to work on creating so that we can help you guys out. But I just want to say thank you guys so much for coming on time and for participating. It was great meeting some of you and hearing from all of you, and I hope to see you guys at some of the workshops coming up soon. The next one is on Tuesday, October 2nd. Wait, I'm sorry, Tuesday, September 29th. And I'll email you guys the flyer if you like with the other dates and stuff like that. But thank you so much, and it was great chatting with you guys. I hope you learned something. And for those of you who sent your email, I will email you this workshop. And if you want to reply with any questions or something, or stuff I might have missed, feel free to do so. All right, take care, guys. Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.
Goodbye. Bye.